Hey there, and welcome to a new update in which we are going to discuss the current correction of Bitcoin as we have been dropping from 25 grand towards 23 and a half. We're going to look at the case why this is actually taking place, and we're going to look at the topic that's currently getting the hype, which is the case of Hong Kong opening its doors towards retail traders, and therefore it becomes interesting to look at Chinese coins, but should also be looking at the topic overall. So that's what we're going to do in this update. But before we continue, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to this YouTube channel, check out our trade letter, which is completely free and given to you 3 times per week, including today, in which we also give some theory about the markets, and then also on Friday, altcoin setups. And finally, we do have a premium platform which includes copy trading my portfolio. The first month has started. We are up 9% on the month. Targets are around that area, so we're doing really well. You can join, and we've got a partnership with BitGet, which includes a $2,000 share. Find it in the description beneath, including up to $8,000 deposit bonuses. So what we're looking at with the case here, and I've got a chart from Will Clemente, which I respect a lot. It's a chart in which we show that, or there's an argument that we should be looking at China more than that we should be looking at the US. And I think that the entire statement is completely false. I think we are overhyping the entire fact that Hong Kong is opening its doors and that all of a sudden China is going to move markets. What we could be seeing, and that's what we're seeing right now with all those hyped things, is that Chinese coins will have a rally which is pushed through hype. And at this point, we can see that CFX, High, and some other coins, NEO, they are moving at this point, which generally is driven on a news-related item and doesn't make that much sense fundamentally. The second thing we could be seeing, and I'll just discuss the first one in a little bit. The second thing we could be seeing here is the fact that we will be witnessing more moves during Asia times, which means that the markets are going to see some more movements during that period. Well, they usually were quite calm, but I recall from 2017 that there were so many movements during the night and breakouts, etc., that we probably are going to see that happening again. However, the statement that we will be moving based on China alone, and that US correlation is going to be dropping and doesn't really have any impact at all anymore, I think that's false. And if you look at the chart here, you can see that we only had a negative period in the past year, which was during the FTX collapse. And now we are flipping negative again, which means technically actually that we have been flipping negative because the US was closed. And after the markets have been opening yesterday, we have actually been seeing a correction taking place all across the board again. So if the US indices are going to drop even more, most likely we will do the exact same with Bitcoin. The fact that we have been witnessing this entire negative correction here was due to FTX collapse. That's entirely true. And what does this tell us? That during this period, we actually started to break out upwards with the indices. So if this didn't take place, we would probably be trending already around 35 to 40k at this point, which means that there's still a big gap to take, which means that the relief rally is going to be higher than most people are expecting because crypto went way further down due to the fact that there were intrinsic market movements. So there's still some time to get towards the levels it should be, and that's why these movements are really big at this point, and that's why the correlation has been negative here, which ultimately would have been resulting into a price trending higher at this point than what it is at this stage. So there's still a gap to be made at this point. But negative correlations are not there unless something like such a black swan or an outlier intrinsic in a market take place. Right now, we're seeing a correction on the markets on the US, and ultimately we also see the correction taking place within crypto. So it won't be moving. Even though this news kicks in, it will not be making such a big difference at all. It will just have a different short time in which you can see that specific altcoins around the area of China are moving due to hype and retail traders jumping onto those. But after that, we just move on and get towards the next hype topic, which 2 weeks ago we had with AI. So in that regard, we are seeing a case of the markets correcting, and we can see that Bitcoin is moving at 24k. We have also been concluding that if it was not able to hold on to the level that we were witnessing here at 25k, or we were not breaking through it and we are not going to hold 24.4, I think we're going to witness lower levels. Right now we have been witnessing such a case in which we have been dropping all the way towards 23.8. We might be at the end stage of this correction, but if we look at the 12 hour, for instance, it wouldn't even be a bad case if we continue the correction all the way towards 23.3 and potentially even 22.5. I'm not saying we will, but if we get to anywhere of those ranges, we probably are going to have a period of sideways action until the next FOMC meeting starts to take place. And I think that what I said earlier as well, we are testing 25k, and it's such a vital resistance to break through that if we break through it, we probably have a very substantial breakout, which means that in order to get there, we need to have some more consolidation taking place before we can have continuation, before we can actually have the breakout. It won't break in one go, because 25k is such a psychological level for people to use it at SNTP. It's the final one, and therefore it's also the 200-week MA resistance level, and therefore it's important to keep an eye on this one, and that's why we're also correcting here, which means that potentially we're going to chop around for a little bit. If we get into the range lows here for Bitcoin, I'm definitely interested into getting into positions, but for now staying put is not a bad case. Looking at altcoins, I think most of them have been correcting substantially as well. Chainlink went all the way down again, and it's getting into an area of interest here. I'm just going to discuss Chainlink as the only one here. This entire block is interesting. Anywhere between $6.80 towards $7.50, which it is right now, is an area of interest for Chainlink. And I think that if we are going to hold here and we consolidate, it is the trigger for the next big breakout. So we are still building up and we are still facing the bigger move later on, but it's just going to take some time before we can actually witness it. Make sure to hit the like button, and I'll be back tomorrow with a fresh new update. Ciao.